Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today, I'm doing a little compare and contrast with two versions of Spider-Man. My kids are going to join me today, and we're going to kind of break down these two versions of Spider-Man. Before I bring their part on, I just wanted to give a kind of a disclaimer in a way. I read this to them probably 4 years ago, and since then, a couple of them have read it themselves a couple times. They love that this is their version of Spider-Man. We've read about 15 or 16 issues of the Ditko run, and it's something that I've kind of been reading with them sporadically, mixed in with other stuff, and it's just kind of been slow going. But this classic version of Spider-Man is the one they love. However, they do love the Into the Spider-Verse movie with Miles Morales, so they have a lot of questions about Miles and where he comes from and stuff, and I've explained to them that he originally started in this Ultimate Universe and that it had kind of a reboot of Spider-Man, but taking place in the year 2000 and such, and so they've had a lot of questions about it. I ran across this free comic book edition fairly recently and decided I would just grab it and read it with them and, let them kind of decide which version they like better. When Ultimate Spider-Man came out, I was in my early 20s and I've been a steadfast reader of comics and Spider-Man since I was about 9 years old. So this wasn't really written for me, I didn't think. It's written in the voice of, teenagers of that time period, which I was past that. It also has the decompressed storytelling, and since it was just kind of retelling the same stories I already knew, this didn't click for me the way it did a lot of people at the time. I understand there's a whole generation of people that look at Ultimate Spider-Man as their version of Spider-Man. So I get it. I respect it for that era. I did not love it. I didn't jump on it initially because the marketing for it made it look like it was aimed at little kids. So then when it dropped and I missed out on the first issue and probably about the third or fourth issue when the buzz really started to pick up, I think Marvel at the time was putting them online to read even for free because, Marvel was pushing this book so heavily that I ended up reading it and I read it for free through the first, 20 or 25 issues or so. And then I know I came back on for the Venom version and I just didn't love it. I did not like the decompressed way of storytelling. I didn't like the modern take of certain things like the way the Green Goblin was. I didn't really like the way Kraven was handled. Kingpin was pretty cool, but he was kind of the same character. So for me, just the book did not stick, and I did not keep reading much past that Venom storyline, which was, I think, in the 30s. And I just only know that Peter Parker died because of news reports on it. I didn't pick up with Miles when it started off. I just wasn't into the Ultimate Universe, really as a whole. So I kind of had my own personal biases, I guess, against it for that reason, which is why when I was introducing my kids to this, I went with this. But I've also read them the whole Kirby FF run, which they love. And we've read this, we've read a bunch of other Silver Age stuff, and they just really gravitate towards that. So I'm kind of giving that disclaimer before we jump into this, and they really give their 2 cents on how they felt about this version. So without further ado, I'm going to bring them on. So we looked at both the original Spider-Man first appearance and the updated Spider-Man appearance in Ultimate Spider-Man #1. So what did you guys like a lot about the original Spider-Man?
It was all perfect, flawless, only one flaw. It had way too many captions. There's a caption on each and every page, and it's overwhelming. They take away from the story. Now focus on the story. Look, caption first page, come on.
Okay, so some of the things you liked about this.
We got awesome Spider-Man in this issue. We got garbage Spider-Man in this issue. Okay. Awesome garbage.
Okay, let's slow down. So, you think it had too many captions in this one, right?
That's the only flaw. The rest of it was flawless. Wait, what is this funny part here? Right there, they both have the same face. As you see, it's flawless. He gets his powers, does the wrestling match, gets into TV, but then Uncle Ben dies, so then he goes and he fights the guy and realizes that it's his fault. And then he must stop all evil. And then it leads into his own series in Spider-Man #1.
So you feel like these 11 pages is the perfect...
Yes!
Even the dialogue, the things that Peter says, the way he talks.
Yes. Yes.
Do you feel like you got everything you needed out of Aunt May and Uncle Ben?
Yes. This one, Aunt May was not liking this one because, this. That's garbage. This is trash.
Okay.
This belongs in
All right. Let's go ahead and jump into this one because I think you guys are wanting to talk about it some more. Okay. This one was actually made with kids your age in mind for a more modern audience. This was written in the 1960s. This was written in the early 2000s. So really, this was meant to attract you guys. So
this attracted me. If I saw this and read it, I was like, trash, straight up
He
trash.
doesn't even look like he does on the cover. That's what I would be like back then.
which cover do you like better?
Actually,
I gotta admit, this one does have a creative design with a real city background. But
this is the classic. They would use it for everything.
look at all that flat colors.
Flat colors are the best colors. These shiny.
Which one did you like?
Both.
You like both? Which cover do you like better?
And this is kind of funny because he's like, the world may mock Peter Parker, the teenager. They'll soon marvel at the awesome might of Spider-Man, and this guy's just right here listening to every word he said.
So
Yeah.
Do you like the word balloons on the cover?
Yeah.
And
Spidey's foot is gonna hit that caption. Look, Spidey's gonna swing. His foot is gonna hit that caption. They got captions on the cover.
What about the art style in the two different books?
Well, I mean, this one
Way better. It seems more like it was actually drawn. Where this,
It looks CG-ish.
Well, the color is probably done with computers in this. It may have been done with computers for
Although
this
I gotta
reprint
admit,
too, but-
the Peter Parker in this book does look pretty cool. But he looks better in this book. Awesome
this is the Peter Parker we all know and
garbage.
love.
Awesome garbage.
And Norman Osborn's not supposed to be there. Not supposed to be there. Not supposed to be an experimentation spider. No experimentation spider. Nope.
yeah, it's not like in,
So you don't like the idea of Norman Osborn being involved in the origin, like with the spider and everything? You didn't like that?
I did not like that. And I didn't like how they got on a field trip, as you'll see later on.
Okay, so we see in this one we get a lot of like Peter at school, where in this we only got that for a few pages. In this one we got a lot of Peter like at lunch with his classmates. There's a food fight going on. Well, I guess this part was in the mall, right? Mary Jane is in here right away.
Yeah, that's one good thing. Took like forever in the original.
Yeah. So as we flip through this book, what's missing?
Some pages. And look
Well-
at Harry. He's like
Well-
he's like a cool dude. Just like, oh,
He's just a dude.
he's like that kind of cool dude.
He's a
where
dude.
like,
He's a dude.
He's a dude.
Peter does Harry's homework for him, which is like, you should not do that. Trust me. I mean, like, why would you want someone to do it for you? You're not learning anything.
So we get a lot more of Aunt May and Uncle Ben in this book. What did you think of that?
Well, I mean, they didn't make the funny faces that they did in the first one.
Yeah, and they didn't buy him that
Telescope. He just
telescope thingy. He
just had it.
like
Oh, the microscope?
that's not how it's supposed to go.
You were supposed to give it to him on random.
That's right. You guys thought this was pretty funny with like the way their faces look the same right there.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. That's a funny. Yeah, look at it. It's like.
Oh yeah, look at how big it is.
So they go on a field trip in this one. Instead of Peter just going to a science thing by himself.
I think it's better when he goes to a science thing by himself. Me too. And I don't like the blood when he gets bitten by.
Yeah, look at that blood right there.
It's too blood. What do you think about the spider in this one?
Way too big.
The only look at that blood right there.
That's not the only spider that can ever be that big is a tarantula. And
The only good
tarantulas
part-
do not have little
The
skin
only
legs
good
like
part
that.
about the spider
Again,
is that it has a lot of detail, unlike that red ugly thing.
comparing that
that
spider
awesome
to that
looking thingy.
spider.
Well,
that
that
one's-
spider is
That
better.
one is totally more like a spider that you would just find hanging around, not a ugly spider that you would not find just hanging
Well, a big
around.
difference in this is they were just doing an experiment with radiation, and the spider just happened to be like crawling around and dangle down in front of it on accident, whereas this spider was actually genetically modified in the lab. and
Yeah,
had gotten out.
which I do not like. I
do not like that. Where instead of going on a field trip with all the people who don't want to go there, like Flash Thompson and that big buff guy.
I think his name is Kong in this, but he's not in this at all. So you like it better, though. Why do you like it better for Peter to go by himself?
Because it fits more in with him. It's like...
Where he's kind of like a loner, an outcast?
Yeah.
Whereas this, he's going with the whole class. It's almost like he wouldn't have been there had he not had to go on this field trip. But on this, he chose to go to the lab. And you think that fits Peter's character better than just going on a field trip.
So then we gotta flip the next page in the garbage issue.
Okay, so a lot more drama here of like him getting bit by the spider.
Way too much drama.
He passes out. He wakes up on the bus. Whereas on this, he just kind of gets a little lightheaded, but then leaves on his own and immediately discovers his powers on the
Which
walk
I like
home.
more.
Yeah.
And because and it's not at the end of the issue, as you'll see at the end.
But in this one, we don't see him start developing his powers. We get more Norman and his little business lackeys here.
Which, like...
And they're discussing legal liability of the spider biting
And that
Peter.
guy has the biggest butt in this issue.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. See, it has butt pockets.
So Peter just
And
basically
he has butt shoes.
okay. So Peter basically just sleeps it off right here. And then the next
Unlike
day,
in this one.
the next day he's back at school. Yeah, in this one we're moving right along in this one.
With the
He figures
funny
out his
face
powers.
right there. The funny guy right there.
Yeah, the art is
The
awesome in this.
The wrestling. I mean, they did everything they could.
In this one, we get a lot
It
of-
was awesome.
And in this one we get a lot of just this kind of stuff, just faces looking at each other throughout the
It's gross.
Yeah, you get too much detail. It looks like this ugly slime
So
stuff.
then Peter discovers his powers. So this was established earlier in the issue where he was being bullied at school and they kicked him from behind.
Never kick like that. Trust me, never kick like that. Never.
Where was it that they kicked him from here? So here they established that these guys bully him. He gets kicked in the behind there and like knocked down. But here they're coming to kick him and Peter dodges it.
Hold on. Wait, maybe that guy with the butt pockets and butt shoes. That guy. He's got a big butt.
No, that's not the same guy.
Dang it.
So on this one, they come to kick him and Peter dodges it and gets caught or catches the guy and flips him up and makes him land on his face.
And he flipped the
So that's how he discovers his powers on this one. And then there's a lot of surprise and then he passes out again.
Yeah, like totally terrible storyline.
Like in this, look at it. You're raising along. You're getting the story.
In this one,
He's getting his suit. You're developing character.
You got these two funny faces again. Look at
in this one, he's already...
at those faces.
Yeah.
They are hilarious faces as usual, but like then this one, it's way better. You know, you're moving along. He's getting his suit. It's character development. This one has zero character development.
A lot of people would argue that this has a lot more character development than this. That even though this does move along faster, and we see him get to the Spider-Man suit,
And
the
it's
web shooters.
classic. It's classic. This one's much better.
A lot of people think like the extra talking, the extra time in class, the extra interaction with Aunt May and Uncle Ben. A lot of people say that is more characterization.
No, this is more character development. He's developing into the Spider-Man persona.
So he's moving along quick. So he's at the hospital now, and they draw some blood, and this guy,
they really shouldn't do that.
and this guy steals the blood sample,
Which you really shouldn't do that
and
either.
he takes it back to Norman Osborn, who is looking at it and is saying that he's going to die. Okay?
But he's not gonna die. As
So-
we can all tell, he dies when Miles comes along.
And what
Spoiler alert.
What do you think about a page like this, where they're just like lit up
I
by this
hate
red?
Miles.
Yeah, this
And
page is straight up
this-
trash because they say that Spidey's gonna die.
Okay. All right,
Spoiler.
so we're moving along. What about these kind of pages?
Hold
Again,
on.
we just get close-ups of faces.
Which is awful and garbagey. Hold on. Now, seeing this one, he goes and confronts the crook who killed Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben doesn't even die in this one. I'm like, what? That's what I heard. Uncle Ben dies in the 3rd issue, and that is just straight up. I just can't with it. I just can't.
It's too much, huh? Okay, so then Peter is like out walking, and this car tries to run him over.
And
he's able to flip over it.
Right here.
Yeah, it's kind of a nod to that, I think. But this time the car's like doing it to him on purpose. Whereas this, Peter was just kind of absent-minded and walked out into traffic.
It's the same blue car. Look at it.
Yeah, they probably did that on purpose to kind of make that a nod to this. But in this one, the guy was trying to run him over on purpose.
And that does not look anything like Banana Bread.
So then this issue pretty much just ends with Norman saying, "Don't kill the kid, I want to study him." And
that is just like, no. Garbage.
Now, the thing is, I told you guys, this was the free comic book edition, and it was edited down. They took out about half the pages, really.
Oh, gosh,
but
that's like
I showed you guys how it originally ended, and so while this ended with like this scene with Norman saying he wanted to study him, the only thing we really got left out of this, is Peter looking at his own blood sample on his microscope in his room. And then he discovered that he could climb walls while laying in bed. And that's how it ended. So yeah, no costume, no web shooters, nothing of that in this book. In a way, it's kind of unfair because I read this to you guys a long time ago. And you two have at least read it on your own. We've read into this series, the Amazing Spider-Man series that follows it, about a dozen or so issues. This issue, you keep calling it garbage. How much more do you want to read until at least he gets in the Spider-Man costume?
Oh, totally. Yeah. To see how much more garbage. Yeah, see how bad it can be.
Until the Miles part.
This series was really praised in its time, and even today, there's like a whole generation of people that love this version of Spider-Man.
I know why they love it.
I
know why they love it. Because of Miles. The only good part about it.
I'm sorry, everybody has their own opinions, but in my opinion, it is garbage.
What about Miles?
My personal opinion. This is a personal opinion. You don't have to believe this. It's just what I think. I just think that this issue's garbage.
Only this issue. Okay. We don't know about the rest.
Miles doesn't come around until like issue 150 or something.
Like this one is a collector's item.
Any other thoughts before we go?
Yep.
No, but I do have something that everyone should consider. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
So that's all we got for now. Until next time.
Read your comics.
Like this issue.
Hold on, let Arthur talk.
Trash. You need to edit out this part and another part where I said where I made a beeping noise.
Don't worry, I'm gonna be editing a bunch of this.